Welcome to Expert Profiles Atlanta, where Atlanta's influencers and innovators share strategies for overcoming obstacles and achieving success in business and life. Here's your host, best-selling author and Atlanta influencer, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Nirjary Desai. She is the Chief Experience Officer at KIS Cubed Events in Atlanta, Georgia, and she's going to be talking to us today about all the different kinds of events that she puts on for her clients. Welcome to the show, Nirjary.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself and KIS Cubed Events and how you got started with this.
Well, my background is in marketing and brand management, and I completely fell into this business. I was studying in England for my MBA in international marketing and brand management. Before that, I went to hospitality and business school at the University of South Carolina. I've always been kind of in the hospitality field, and growing up, immigrated here from South Africa. My family is originally from India. We kind of had that whole American dream of being entrepreneurs and kind of making a name for yourself. And pretty much I really kind of started this business as it started out, we started doing social gatherings, more like weddings and stuff. A lot of my girlfriends were getting married, and the same time I was working and doing corporate stuff for Starwood Hotels and Resorts and other hospitality corporations, and just completely fell into it. It wasn't an area that I was planning on being in. My goal was actually to be in like working for the UN in foreign translations, since I speak multiple languages. And now I guess I get to do it in a different way. We plan and produce experience-based events for clients, corporate brands, as well as social lifestyle events as well. And we're based in Atlanta, but we travel globally producing experiences.
Well, yeah, I must admit, I'm looking at your website, kiscubedevents.com, and seeing some of the stuff that you have been doing and been featured in different places, working with brands in the US and India, London, the Caribbean, being featured on Bravo TV, the Wedding Channel, Huffington Post, and you even had a cameo in Meet the Patels. How did that come about?
Oh, that was just a unique experience I got to be a part of. Meet the Patels is a movie. It's a feature film all about the South Asian culture and revolves all around getting married and the whole arranged marriage concept. Does it work or does it not work? And I knew the producers. We were actually at a conference, and I had a cameo in the movie. It's during the speed dating scene, so it was quite fun and a funny experience at the same time. Just kind of diving in, getting the audience into the South Asian culture, which was a great way to kind of showcase it.
Yeah, excellent. So tell me more about the kind of clientele that you help.
We work with a lot of different clients. A majority of our clients are C-suite clients, CFOs, CMOs, CEOs of their own companies, or they are in high positions in large Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. A lot of times we are dealing with CEOs either on personal projects that they are hosting either in their home or for charities or nonprofits and things like that, or we're working with them on a brand level to create experiences related to a new product or service that they're launching for their company.
So tell me, what is unique about yourself and KIS Cubed that these C-suite people really want to hire you for?
I think what's unique about us is the experience and the creativity that we really bring to the table. We really focus on listening to our clients as well as our suppliers and vendors and our team that actually help bring it to life. I can say that one of the things that sets us apart is, we didn't just kind of, yes, falling into this and starting it was a part of it, but we didn't just start in the sense of like, oh, one day we're like, hey, we want to be an event planner. and just started planning events just because we like to organize things. I think the number one thing for us has been like, we have great corporate backing in this, as well as we've had the experience of creating experiences from, so many different aspects. And also we're global. Our team speaks multiple languages, which I think is really rare to find, especially because business is so global today. And it's so important that you're able to communicate with, all clients. And when I say all clients, not just, the direct client that's hired you, but the attendees and as well as everyone else that's serving the event. I think it's so important. And that's the beauty of this business is that, you get to meet and work with people from all over the world.
Yes, I'm sure that is something that is very much needed, is talking in so many different languages. People come from all over the place. What is it about these corporate events that they are really looking for when they're trying to put on an event? Is it just a big, lavish event, or are they looking for something completely different?
What they're basically looking for is, yes, they are looking for at times lavish and big, but what they're looking for is they're looking for something that makes a statement and that speaks them. They want to create that wow factor, like, doesn't matter how old you are when you walk into a space, it's all about leaving an impression. And that's the number one thing that, I think that they like as far as like what we bring to the table, because for us, it's like, every moment is unique. The experiences should be memorable. And when you walk into a space, your style should stand out and be unforgettable. That's like a big motto for us. And we take that in the sense of like, whether we're planning like, a brand experiential corporate event, or we're planning a social gathering for these clients, either in their home or for their own, child's wedding or something like that, they want to feel that level of, I want this to be memorable. I want this to be unforgettable. I want this to be different. And I want it to be something that, people keep talking about and there's a buzz about. Because I think like in today's day and age in business, these clients also invite what you call a lot of influencers, where they may be, trying to do other business, and it's a way of helping them gain visibility. So for us, it's like we want to make sure we do a really good job for them from start to finish, because that's future business for us.
Right. And do their future clients gauge the event by, how well it goes off to, how well they're going to do business? Oh,
definitely. I can say that from, since most of these high position CEOs and CMOs and CFOs that are hosting a lot of these events, or they're affiliated with others, that are at the same rank as them in their corporations. And so I can say that, we do get the opportunity to serve a lot of their guests as well in a different capacity or in future events. So I can say that like, we know that it works with what we do, because we do get at least 3 to 4 referral pieces of business from previous work.
Excellent. That's a great way to do business. Put on a great experience and you're going to get the referrals. Talk to me, Nirjary, about some of the social events. Do you deal mainly in that Southeast Asian market?
The social events we deal with in the multicultural market, not just Southeast Asian. We have specialized and had a lot of experience working in the Southeast Asian market just due to my very own background, but also we really cater to the luxury wedding or luxury social event market, where individuals are really trying to either raise money for causes and things like that. They're supporting charities, but also they want it done right, or they're throwing a super lavish wedding in Italy or Greece or somewhere, and they want to make sure that they can work with someone they trust and that can get the job done for them.
So talk to me about some of these destinations that you have gone to set up events.
We've been all over. We've been to India. We've been to England. We've been to the Dominican, Costa Rica, Aruba, all over the United States. So super excited, including Mexico and everywhere. So it's been super exciting because, one of the things for me, it's like, we have suppliers all over the world. So we get to work with them anywhere. And we're excited. We just, we're planning a couple of events coming up in the future for clients in Europe, Eastern Europe and Western Europe. So we're super excited that, our job does let us experience the world, but travel and do business in real time with real people that value service and quality.
Now, when we were talking about, right at the start, I think you said something about the Indian weddings and arranged weddings and things like that. From your experience, does that work or does it not?
I say it does and it doesn't. I think it depends on the way you look at it. Like, for example, for me and my husband, we met online today. That seems to be the only way to really meet someone if you're serious to be in a relationship. And we got married, earlier this year. So I think that if you choose for it to work, it works. If you choose for it not to work, it doesn't work. So I think that, in any sort of scenario that's outside of the norm of, just a lot of people think it's like you're going to run into someone on the streets. That's not true because there has to be some level of push and introduction that happens somewhere, so I think you have to take a leap of faith to make it work for you.
Definitely. Well said. Now let's talk about the actual events. What are the biggest concerns or fears people have about putting on an event like this?
I think the biggest concerns and fears that people have is everything going to go right? You spend a year planning and working with them and holding their hand, and you're spending that time working with like 4 to 5 people, but then they're catering their events, or we're executing the events for 5, 6, sometimes even 1,200 guests. So I think the biggest thing is to assure them that, we're going to come properly staffed, and we're going to make sure that like every aspect of your event is taken care of, because we've spent that much time detailing the event and everything. So we want to ensure that, we do make it all happen.
And what kind of things can go wrong, and what do you have in place to cover those things?
Oh gosh, there's so many different things that can go wrong. We had an event where the caterer got stuck on the highway. He was coming from another city, and it was just it was hard for him because his truck broke down, and we had to kind of stall a couple of things and rearrange things in a way where like the couple and the families didn't even know that that's what happened. So I think the thing is, it's like when you work in this industry, you have to be able to think on your feet. Like when I say think on your feet, it means like be able to make quick decisions that are going to be in the benefit of the client as well as your company as a whole. Because essentially the number one thing is at the last hour, you don't want it to cost the client any extra money.
Is that a big concern, staying on budget?
Yeah, I think staying on budget is obviously every client's concern. I think it depends on, certain things. If clients really want them, then they are willing to go a little bit, stretch their budget a little bit. But I think the number one thing is always to remain on the budget.
And how do you handle expectations, or how do you get the vision of the client and be able to sit down and share just exactly what that's going to cost and what it's going to look like?
So one of the number one things we start with when we work with our clients is we start with the budget meeting. Then we start with what we call what needs to happen starting at what point before your events. What's going to be the agency and the company's responsibility, and what are the deliverables we need from the client if the client wants to have any deliverables to keep their costs down. Then the other thing is we really get into the designing phase where, everything is 3D modeled, sketched out. We're getting renderings and everything like that done in order for the client to get the best possible idea for the vision that we're going for, to make them feel comfortable that, we do understand them, their brand, their needs, and what they're basically looking to execute.
And do you have examples to show these clients of, certain kinds of events that you've done before?
Absolutely. We do. We have a lot of stuff on our social media, on our Instagram or our Facebook, but we also show them a lot of stuff with albums of not only still photos, but we also have a lot of video content as well.
So, Nirjary, what are some of the mistakes that you have seen people make when trying to hire an event planning company?
I think one of the number one mistakes I see people doing is they sometimes get sticker shocked as far as like the consulting cost for a planning agency. And, a lot of times, like, for example, we work in the sense of we're not charging you, we're not making any more or any less. So in our case, it's like, we tell them that this is how we work, this is how we're going to work, versus, a lot of other agencies and companies, they have super lower charges, but then they're making a lot of commission from other vendors and not necessarily looking out for the client's best interest.
And how far in advance do you have to talk to these people before the event?
We start working with clients sometimes about 2 years ahead of time, 14 months, 12 months, sometimes even less than that. We have some clients that started working with us earlier this year. When I say earlier, I mean literally like in August, and their events are happening in December. So, for us, it's like we've had the experience of working with clients in a super short window of 6 weeks, 6 months, so on and so forth. So we can definitely handle any capacity. I think the number one thing what happens is the clients need to be comfortable with making their decisions.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to events like this, is it most of the time a one-time event, or do you have repeat events for some customers too?
We do have repeat events for some customers, especially a lot of the corporate clients. There is a lot of repeat stuff depending on like if they're launching new services or new products or things like that. They offer different types of launches for each different reveal or different service. If it's like a new food concept, if it's a new hotel company that's launching a new bedding line, so on and so forth. If it's a car company that's launching a new car or launching new interiors. So, there's so many different aspects of the way we can go.
And as far as cost for some of the events that you put on, just so that people who are listening have an idea what would be the kind of minimum. I know it would go up to, quite extravagant events, but, what's the minimum to get your attention?
I will say we've worked with clients with all different budgets. So I would say that like if it's a corporate event, where most of the clients are starting at about like 35, 40K and going up to, a couple $100,000. And if it's a social event, that also varies as far as like, how many guests they're going to have and how many events they're planning on having in a weekend, because that pricing is super customized based on the number of events in a short period of time.
So give me some examples of the events that have really stood out in your mind. You've been doing this for over a decade. Is that what you said? Yeah. So are there any events that really stood out in your mind as just, spectacular that you'd like to share?
Yeah, we've had like quite a few of those. Gosh, we've done so many in so many different places. I can definitely say one of my most memorable events that we did was in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was for a client. The father is basically a pharmaceutical tycoon, and we had the opportunity to plan his daughter's wedding. That wedding was pretty much featured every morning in the Salt Lake Tribune from the evening before his events and stuff like that. But one of the coolest things about that event was I had to get FAA clearance in downtown Salt Lake City to fly a hot air balloon as their farewell kind of vehicle. We got to go film and shoot with the client like months before the event. It's almost like we created like a Mercedes CLK Sports convertible commercial on the salt flats, and then behind the scenes getting stuck in the salt flats there, getting towed out. We get to experience a lot of fun stuff behind the scenes, but I can definitely say that event was super big in magnitude. We were flying in vendors and suppliers from all over the country, as well as, being able to, I traveled with the family to India to help them shop for the wedding and events and things like that. So, those are different things as far as like our services go. Our services aren't just here. We do, they are customized based on other areas of the world where clients either don't have the relationships or contacts. So we help them get those in order to get certain things that they really want. So I can say that event was definitely super memorable. Another great one was we did for Ritz-Carlton hotels. We did what we call a brand activation for them. They were hiring a South Asian chef at one of their properties, and they wanted to basically showcase his skills and everything to capture more business in that market. And instead of making it a bridal event, we kind of worked with them and said, why don't we do an event for Diwali? Diwali is what we call like the South Asian New Year. And it's a time where all communities get together. Doesn't matter your religion or anything. And so it was great because that was an event we planned within 3 weeks. And I was able to, manage the guest list and everything for them. And we had a lot of great publicity from that event. We ended up getting about 250 people showing up to the event, in such a short notice. And the company saw a lot of increase in, the leads and the inquiries for that market. And so it was pretty successful for them as well.
Now, obviously, these events create great experiences that are memorable, but from an emotional standpoint, what does it mean to the people that hire you? What do they say to you during and after the event?
Oh, wow. I mean, honestly, I think that one of the things that I can definitely say about my company and me personally is that we become kind of like part of their family. They thoroughly see that, we treat their event as if it was our own event, because to a certain extent, it is our own event. Our company is backing it up, executing it. And I can say that, the number one thing is when those clients are, referring business to us, that is the biggest compliment that they can give us, because we know we did a really good job.
Right. There's definitely a lot of pride that goes into all that work that you do. You want everything to turn out just as the wedding party or the corporate event want it to turn out great as well. Now, I know you said you kind of fell into this industry, but what's really inspired you to grow it and keep it going?
I want to say definitely the relationships. I think I've made great relationships along the way, and I've worked really hard to make sure our company has a very good name. And if certain things don't make sense for us to align with our brand and a particular event, I don't do it. I think what's made me successful is that I make sure that, once again, I keep in mind it's so important to me that I maintain a good relationship with these people, because that to me is 100% bulletproof as far as like what my future is going to be like. And that, I think, has been something that I've kept up with over the years. with all my clients, it doesn't matter if someone is changing positions within an organization or leaving an organization or, within a family that we work with as well. I think it's been, we maintain consistent communication and consistent relationships. And that's definitely helped because that's opened up other doors for us.
Right. Those relationships, it really all comes down to that, making sure that you are treating people the way that they want to be treated, and they will do, the same to you, hopefully. Now, can you share with us a lesson that you learned early on in your business that still impacts how you do business today? Maybe a mistake that you made or a mistake that you saw somebody else in the industry make, or, overcoming your own misconceptions about the industry?
I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned, and it's been kind of like, one of my mentors has told me this, is like, never not carry a business card. You never know who's sitting next to you where. If you're on an airplane, you could be sitting next to the CEO of some major company, and that could lead you to doing some sort of business with them or so on and so forth. So I think that's definitely been a great kind of motto that I've kept up with. And I think the other thing also is kind of like, being in this profession, you're in the public eye. And one of the number one things I've learned over the years also is how you basically act and react in public. That's your reputation. And it's so important for you to maintain a good reputation in the public eye, because people do pay attention to that, and they do contact you, or they do choose to do business with you based on your reputation, not just on what it is online on Google and your Google reviews. We have stellar reviews and everything, but those stellar reviews obviously come because we conduct ourselves in a particular way as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely an industry where everybody is going to see your work. When you're putting on events like that, people are going to see it, they're going to see how good it is, and they're going to give referrals at the same time. If it's not good, they're going to have opinions like that as well. So you really have to be on top of your game all the time. Now, what's one thing that we might not have covered yet that someone who's thinking about hiring you to put on an event should think about?
I think one of the things that people should really think about is you should definitely be open to trying out new companies. I think it's important. And I think because, what starts happening is like with a lot of corporate companies, sometimes it's kind of like once you're in, it's like, that's it, and they're not necessarily open to new blood in the market, I guess, if that's the best way to put it. But I think one of the things is it's kind of like take a risk, and because there are people out there that understand you as a client and your brand as a company that can probably do an exceptional job for you. And you have to remember that, someone took a risk on you. So don't be scared to take a risk on someone else, because that's the only way that you can help elevate others as well. And I think that's so important. I do that every day in my business when someone tells me they want to get into the event side of it. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to share the knowledge and the wealth of knowledge and experience that you do have in order to help bring others up as well. Because essentially that is our purpose in life, right?
Definitely. Now, Nirjary, if somebody wants to reach out to you directly for more information about having you handle their event for them, how would they do that?
They can contact me directly via my phone at 678-559-5916 or our office line at 855-KIS-Q, KIS-CUBE, which is 855-547-2823. Or they can also email me directly at Nirjary, which is NIRJARY at KISCUBED events, EVENTS.com.
KISCubedevents.com. Well, Nirjary Desai, she's the Chief Experience Officer at KIS Cubed Events. Thank you very much for being my guest on Expert Profiles Atlanta today.
Thank you so much, Neil. Look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you. And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
Thank you for listening to Expert Profiles Atlanta with Neil Howe. To learn more about the resources in the show or to listen to past episodes, visit expertprofilesatlanta.com.